Alrighty, this is going to be my analysis on The Impossible movie. So, The Impossible is a 2012 film based on the events of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which remains one of the deadliest natural disasters in human history. The tsunami saw over 230,000 deaths across 14 nations and the destruction of homes, communities, and the infrastructure of coastal countries. The film mainly focuses on one family's experience while on vacation in Thailand, but the real event saw widespread and devastating impact to millions. What is a tsunami? So a tsunami, as described by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is a series of long, powerful waves caused by a sudden displacement of ocean water, often from an underwater earthquake. These waves spread outward from the source and can travel across entire ocean basins. Also, unlike wind-driven waves that affect only the ocean's surface, tsunamis affect the entire water column from the seafloor to the surface. So what causes tsunamis? Tsunamis are caused by sudden disturbances that displace large amounts of ocean water, most commonly by underwater earthquakes that occur at subduction zones, which are places where one tectonic plate forces its way underneath another tectonic plate. And when this occurs, the water above the other plate will be forced upwards or downwards, and that will cause a shift in the water column, which pushes it upward, and it creates these powerful waves and with devastating impacts. So the Pacific Tsunami Museum tells us that nearly 72% of all tsunamis are caused by these underwater earthquakes, including the one which occurred in the 2004 natural disaster, which was the result of a 9.3 earthquake which struck just off the west coast of Indonesia in the early hours of the morning. Other less common causes of tsunamis include underwater landslides, volcanic eruptions, and meteorite impacts. Scientific accuracies in the film. So the film accurately portrays the violent, sudden inland surge of water, which matches how tsunamis rapidly flood coastal cities in real life, such as when the first wave hits in the scene on the right, when the kid's standing out at the pool. The huge wave comes, it eclipses all the houses, and it's just like a crazy, terrifying scene overall. Another accuracy is the powerful flow of debris-filled water, which is it carries vehicles, trees, and building materials that increase destruction and deadliness. So you can't exactly see it in there, it's pretty much water, but later on in the film, you can see as the kid swims around trying to find his mother, the water's filled with trees and cars and broken pieces of wood and concrete, rebar, metal, everything is just all over the place, and it's just chaos. So another scientific accuracy, which doesn't pertain to the tsunamis as much, but it's the scenes of injury, confusion, and the family being separated, which are relatable to actual survivor experiences from the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. So exaggerations, the tsunami in the movie is mainly shown as one large wave, while in reality, tsunamis arrive in series of waves, with waves increasing in destruction as they arrive, as we discussed earlier. So that's probably the biggest exaggeration from the film, is that it just shows that one massive, like 30-foot wave it looked like, which just takes over the entire town. Another one is when the film depicts underwater scenes as extremely clear, when in reality tsunami water would be extremely murky and difficult to see in because of the debris that we just talked about, dirt, sewage, and other things caught in the water. Characters in the film are shown surviving extended periods underwater, which is unrealistic, again, due to the debris, strong currents, and lack of oxygen. The film doesn't really show the classic sign of tsunami arrival either, which, as we all know and constantly is portrayed in all sorts of films, is the withdrawal of water from beaches really quick, so just like that low tide that we see. So effects on humans. The National Library of Medicine published a study on the human impact of tsunamis from 1900 to 2009, which showed the following effects. Roughly 250,000 deaths and 50,000 deaths worldwide, most of which occurred during that 2004 tsunami. 2.5 million people affected in some way by the damage caused. Drowning was the leading cause of death, and women, children, and the elderly were more susceptible to all of these effects. Effects not included in the National Library of Medicine study, but still known to occur from tsunamis, include destruction of homes, roads, utilities, hospitals, infrastructure, and many other forms of our community. Economic impacts, including loss of tourism, local businesses, obviously like fishing businesses and other local beachside businesses will be completely wrecked. And long-term displacement of peoples and psychological trauma on people affected is a pretty big one that's also not mentioned in the study. Prevention and preparation. Preventing loss and preparing for these terrifying natural disasters includes paying attention to early warning systems which use ocean buoys and seismic activity monitoring to warn people through NOAA alerts, which is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, social media and TV and radio, and evacuation planning in your community, and public education such as this slideshow. So on the right we can see tsunami alerts. You have red, orange, yellow, and green. Actually, earlier this year we were in a orange, which is the advisory, because of the massive underwater earthquake that we saw. I think it was near Japan earlier this year. So pretty scary stuff. So overall scientific communication, The Impossible is highly effective at communicating the physical destruction and depiction of tsunamis in the real world, drawing from scientific and geographic sources, and also survivors' accounts, with few inaccuracies throughout the film. These realistic depictions help viewers visualize the scale, power, and terror of tsunamis better than any diagrams or photos can. Some minor misconceptions that can be drawn from the film are things like tsunamis being only one large wave, clarity of the dirty water, and chances of survival. My AI use statement for this presentation, I briefly did use a small amount of AI, but only for formatting, sentence structure, and organizational purposes. All factual content, scientific explanations, and source material was derived from trusted academic sources and my own knowledge on the subject, not AI. These are my references, and that's pretty much it for the presentation. Thank you for listening.